Hello and welcome to the Dragon's Lair podcast in association with Riverside Sports Bar, the home of live sport and great food in Newport. I'm Jamie and joining me is Gavin Thomas. Hello Gavin, how are we?
Very well, Jamie. As I said, at the end of the season, we'll be talking within about 3 weeks, and I was right.
You was right again. I know. Yeah, there's no chance of a break because something
No,
keeps happening. Something keeps popping up. Welsh rugby. Oh dear.
yeah,
Yeah,
constant
exactly.
state of popping up.
Oh, isn't it just? And he's back. He's with us. Gareth Clare. Hello, Gareth. How have you been?
Jamie, hi Gav. Yep, good to be on. Missed it, to be honest. Missed listening to it on my Monday drive to work. So happy days. Good to be back.
Right, I've been thinking about this today. Since you've joined us, and it's been great to have you with us, but we haven't actually talked about the victory pod at all, have we?
No.
If you want it, because against Ospreys, you wasn't with us then, and against Newcastle, you wasn't on the pod then.
No.
So we've got this latest WRU shit show coming up. I'm beginning to think you're a bit of a jinx, Gav, if I'm brutally honest.
Well, with the shit show, I might never have the chance to do a victory pod, might I?
It's crossed my mind. I'm not going to lie, it has crossed my mind.
That would be a sad way to go out. No, I'm sure it'll happen a few times next season. We'll make up for it.
We'll see. We'll see. Anyway, since we last recorded, there has been a lot of news. And that's even before we get to the latest shit show from the WRU. But before we get into all that, we had a big reaction to our interview that we did with David Buttress. And I just want to thank everybody who left positive feedback. And I just want to quickly read out some listeners' reviews, 5-star reviews, because we only read out the 5-star ones. That's the deal. If you leave us a 5-star review, you get a shout out on the pod. So thank you to those who have. And just to quickly read out some lovely reviews that we have. So this is from Pick WXM. After a very tough season for the Dragons and with Welsh rugby being in such a mess, it was great to have David Buttress on the pod and to be so transparent. I have said this before, but Wales are lucky to have him involved in rugby. To be fair to Jamie, he didn't hold back from asking tough questions, and hopefully next season will be much improved. But he says, I'm still not convinced with the coaching setup. We'll talk about that on another pod, I think, but thank you for your review. Stephen Morris gets in touch. Hello, Stephen. He says, Jamie, Gavin and Gav provide a weekly commentary on all things Dragons, Gwent and Wales rugby. Sometimes, he says, this is painful. It's true. But they bring a gallows humour aspect when things go wrong and sheer fan joy when things go right. With guests including David Buttress, Dragons Corona and other luminaries, this is the definitive pod for rugby fans in Gwent and East Wales. Thank you very much for that, Stephen. McNabs42 says, I have thoroughly enjoyed your podcast this season. Long may it continue. Season ticket already bought. Looking forward with eager anticipation to the season ahead. Some good signings made with more to come. A few more wins wouldn't go amiss. Yep, quite right. We'd love to see a few more wins and talk about a few more wins.
That would be nice.
It would be very nice, wouldn't it? And then finally, Everard Spruce, definitely not his real name. Dragon supporter, you're in Florida. Florida boys. We're worldwide. Being listened to in America. Fair play. Excellent podcast, he says. Owner was fuming. He was, wasn't he? And so he should be, to be quite honest.
Very strong words, wasn't there?
He was far more critical and brutal than I think any of us have been on the pod.
100%.
I thought it was very honest, very revealing, and quite right, because if you're a co-owner and you're putting money into a team that's won just 2 games all season, you shouldn't be happy. You should be fuming. I tell you what took me by surprise, right? The one comment he said when he said he didn't go to the awards night because he was so angry and embarrassed by the season. I was genuinely taken aback by that. That was quite the admission to make, wasn't it?
Do you know what? I was really shocked listening to that because I wasn't on that one. I was like, blimey. But I'm in some ways I'm glad he's angry because we're not happy as supporters, but him not going to that really shows that he's not accepting our current state and wants us to be better. So in some ways it's good, but yeah, pretty harsh and definitely harsher than the 3 of us have been.
None of us would have taken the door if he'd come on and said, oh, well, it was okay, wasn't it? If we think about this and that, kind of we'd have all been outraged at that. So he did it the right way.
Yeah, imagine if we come on and went, well, we've been a bit unlucky, really, haven't we? Some things not going our way. No, I think he was very honest, very brutal, and he explained the reasons why we signed a PRA, and after he explained it, it made more sense to me. But we'll talk about that later on. But
because he's a fan, isn't he? And
yes,
like a fan, he responds like a fan, like we do.
yeah, we've always had a good reaction whenever David has joined us. We've always done well with the listening numbers as well, so we really do appreciate that. Yeah, so I just wanted to get out the way. Thank you to our listeners for their support and their comments. It really means a lot to us. Like I said, when I first agreed to do this pod, I thought we'd be talking into the void, but no, people are listening to us and they seem to be liking it. So thank you very much for your comments. Right then, let's get into it. 'Cause like I said, there is a lot to talk about since we last recorded. Let's talk about the latest comings and goings because there has been a fair few since we recorded. Let's start with the departures. And news I saw coming a mile off, and I did warn you boys, this was on the cards. I hate to say I told you so, but I knew this was going to happen. Harry Wilson, he's left the Dragons after just one season. I did tell you. The 24-year-old was a high-profile signing from the Waratahs last season, but unfortunately he failed to settle in a struggling side. Wilson made just 12 appearances for the men at Gwent, 5 of them starts. So the Dragons have agreed to cut their losses with a year still to run on his contract, and Harry Wilson has returned down under. Best of luck to him for the future, of course. But yet again, this is yet another high-profile signing that's flopped at the Dragons, isn't it? Very disappointing. Gareth, what do you make of this? Do you think the Dragons have done the right thing in releasing Harry Wilson, or do we give up on him too early?
I feel like there was a player there.
Yeah.
He hit some really nice lines. He certainly had, a bit of a penetrating effect in the back line, which we lack. But he's playing in a back line and his hands not particularly great, which you can't really get away with. I know he came at the start of the season and said he'd never played in the rain. I mean, mate, you're moving to South Wales, like it does rain a bit.
Well, it rains in Australia as well.
Yeah, there's no rain down
Yeah,
under,
that's true.
or...
Yeah, he must have got a sick note for those ones. Do you know what? I think we're right in letting him go. I think if we think a player isn't up to standard, I want a squad that Philo's happy with, and we're setting a high bar. If he's not met that, then we should let them go. But yeah, I did think there was a player there. I wouldn't be surprised to see him kick on somewhere else and look like the player we thought we were signing, and wish him all the best. But yeah, just not good enough. Didn't do enough last season.
He's gone into like Australian second grade rugby, so.
Shoot Shield, I believe.
Yeah,
he's playing for.
I mean, that sort of shows the level he's at. Then means we're probably right in letting him go.
Don't be surprised if he gets signed by the Waratahs again or Brumbies, and he has an absolutely storming season for them. And then people will be looking back saying, "Well, why did the Dragons let him go?" This is what happened with Co Tompkinson, wasn't it? Because he went to the Force, I think it was, in Super Rugby, and he did pretty well, in fairness.
I don't think that's happening. Unless they spend a lot of time developing that bloke, because he can't catch and he can't pass, and
which is kind of fundamental in rugby, isn't it? You do need to be able to do those.
Well, that's unfair,
skills.
right? He can catch and pass, but he can't catch and pass at a level you would imagine, a professional rugby player could.
Well, look at the other 13s in the URC. He's up against some pretty good players, isn't he?
Yeah.
You're not worried about Melancello or, and these sort of players catching and passing, are you?
Look on your arm.
Yeah. Yeah, bit of a change in this. So, I mean, there's a few of our players who have left and have not been snapped up by pro teams, which shows I think we are right to let them go.
Yeah, fair enough. I agree with you, though, Gareth. I do think there was a player there. I think he's the kind of player probably needs an arm around him and a bit more one-to-one coaching. I don't know, but you look back at our Ospreys game, and when he come off the bench, he turned that game with his carrying. Yeah. He got us over the gain line time and time again in those last few minutes.
That was the one decent game, though, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah, to set up Luke Yendo's try. You go back and watch it. He was outstanding. But it's a shame how it's happening. Because like I said, it's yet another high-profile signing that we all get excited about, and it's just another flop. So it's really frustrating. But anyway, best of luck to Harry with whatever he does next in his career. Speaking of early departures, this is another shame, really, that this has happened. Head of performance, Ryan Chambers has left after just a year in the job. So Chambers joined the Dragons last summer after spending 15 years working with the Wales team, initially as a strength and conditioning coach. Let's not forget, he was part of 4 Rugby World Cup cycles. He's part of 4 Six Nations Championship winning sides. And he's left already after a year. And he's taken up a role at Basketball Wales to be their new head of performance and coaching pathways. This is an odd one, isn't it? Because, okay, I don't blame anyone for moving on for new opportunities, but we expected Ryan Chambers to be with us for longer than a year. What's all that about, I wonder? What do you think's happened there? Any ideas?
I think that he didn't think. Yeah, I'm guessing now, right? I'm not basing this on anything. I'm not a man in the know, but I imagine that he thought I've not got what I expected from this, but also we probably felt that as well because there was significant issues in our strength and conditioning at points in the season.
I think there's been problems with our strength and conditioning for a while, and this, to me, it made me angry when I seen that post because I was quite pleased with his appointment and was trying to accept that maybe last year, he was trying to bring players up to a level. I distinctly remember Cuthbert on another pod mentioning he caught up with him after the Ospreys game, and he said currently the Dragons are probably at 7 of where he can push them, but he thinks next year is when we'll really see the benefit and he can really sort of implement what he wants. Well, he's not here, so great. And then we've promoted someone internally who's been overseeing strength and conditioning for 12 years, which, all due respect, and I 100% believe this person's doing the best they can, but they have been overseeing a below standard performance. So I just don't see how that is acceptable. Again, we hear from the owners, we want to set high standards, we want to achieve more, we want to improve. Well, it's not backed up by the off-field appointments. I don't think it's good. I think it's a bad move to lose him. Obviously, we don't know all the ins and outs of why he's going, but I was expecting that to be a long-term appointment. It's not a marquee signing that's going to make a difference in a few games. That's a long-term planning signing, and it's again failed. So it's worrying.
No, I agree. Okay, it wasn't a marquee signing, but this was a major appointment at the time.
Yeah,
this was pretty big.
Yeah.
But yet again, it's these high-profile signings, appointments, another one that hasn't worked out. We don't know why. It's baffling, isn't it? Ryan Harris is the guy who you're on about. So he's been with the Dragons since 2014. So he's been promoted to head of strength and conditioning. The Dragons have brought in a chap called Paul Kremin, head of medical services. So Kremin has worked at London Irish, Cornish Pirates, Harlequins, and Portsmouth Football Club. So he's got, some good experience, I guess. But it's just a shame, isn't it? That I don't think we expected him to leave after just 1 year. When you make a high-profile appointment like that, and then after just a year, he's gone.
If he'd been pinched by Ireland, fair enough, but he's not gone to a massively high-profile job elsewhere.
I don't reckon thingamajig Basketball Wales are paying a lot of money personally.
I don't know. Strange one, but like I said,
it's not even fully professional.
Anyway, all the best to Ryan Chambers. Moving on, friend of the pod and former Dragons head coach Di Flanagan, he's been named Saracens' new attack coach, which is a great appointment, isn't it? Di Flanagan told the Saracens website, "I'm absolutely delighted to be joining Saracens, a club I have admired and followed for a long time. The opportunity to come and work in the English Premiership alongside a talented and driven coaching and playing squad is incredibly exciting." The Saracens DOR, Mark McCaw, said, "Di will bring a new perspective, new ideas, and we believe he will take our attack to the next level." I gotta be honest, I'm so pleased for Di. I'm really, really pleased. On the one hand, it's disappointing for Welsh rugby to lose someone like Di, because I still think, I know it didn't work out, but I still think he's a talented coach. He's a talented young coach. But this is a fantastic opportunity. I'm really pleased for him, personally.
No, I'm super pleased for him as well.
Yeah, I don't think he could have got a better job than that. I thought he was going to work with Wales under-20s or Wales women, something along those lines. But fair play, this is a top job. This is a really big job for him, isn't it?
He's in for a shock. He's in for a shock when he turns up at Sarries and he's going, right, today we're going to learn catching and passing and pillars on rucks. And they're going to be like, mate, we know all that. It's like, what? Like, yeah, throw away your Dragons learnings, mate. Like, this is another level. No, genuinely really pleased for him. Like you said, top coach, top bloke. I think he'll offer a lot for them. It's going to be great to see what he can do in that sort of environment. And I agree, it is a loss for Welsh rugby, but hopefully he can go away, learn, and hopefully one day come back to Welsh rugby an even better coach, which would be hopefully beneficial to us in Wales then. But yeah. Fair play to him. Really happy for him.
Yeah, me too. He's probably better being an assistant than a head coach. And I am sorry it didn't work out the way it did. I still think the Dragons let him down a little bit, by putting him in the top job after the Dean Ryan fiasco, and then he was expected to cover defence, be head coach. Then he was expected to be head of recruitment. He was juggling too many plates, and he's a young guy, and that's where I felt the Dragons let him down. But ultimately, he did have to take responsibility for the recruitment that we made as well and results because, he was head coach. So despite all that, though, I think this is a great appointment. I'm really pleased for him. And like we said, hopefully he'll come back to Welsh rugby even better for the experience. He's going to be working in a winning environment with top class players, isn't he? Because Saracens are a top club. So yeah,
awesome.
All the best, all the best. Not a Dragons departure as such, but linked to the Dragons. The one that I'm personally not happy about, I gotta be honest. Chris Kerwin. Now, he's left his role as sports reporter at the South Wales Arcus. So Chris was the Dragons rugby correspondent for many years. I think he took over from Robin Davey, if I remember correctly. And then COVID came and the Argus made some cutbacks. So that meant that Chris had to cover Newport County as well as the Dragons. And how he managed to juggle both teams as well as other, features in Gwent Sport was quite remarkable, to be honest. But unfortunately, he's now left the Argus, and it remains to be seen what Dragons coverage looks like at the Argus going forward. I think this is really disappointing news for Dragon supporters personally. I mean, the Argus was always our first port of call, wasn't it, for Dragons news and analysis? Because to be perfectly honest, I think BBC Wales and Wales online coverage of Dragons is pretty poor. They've always focused far more on the other three teams than they have with us. Whenever you listen to Scrum 5 Pod, it's always Cardiff or Scarlet's player as a guest they have, or they very rarely have any Dragons guests. But I didn't mind so much because I thought, well, we got the Argus. It doesn't matter about BBC, doesn't matter about Wales. So we always had the Argus till we had Chris for his analysis and features, but he's gone, and I just think it's really disappointing because who's going to replace him? I don't think they'll get anyone in to replace him. I just think they'll use either agency staff like the rugby paper do. They use press association, so you'll just get a basic write-up of the game, or it'll be a trainee reporter, because I know the Argus have a lot of trainee reporters, but will they have any idea about the club? Will they have an understanding? And I just think it's a massive shame because he's a good reporter, but we're not going to have that level of coverage now. And I know you're pretty miffed about this, Gareth, as well, aren't you?
Yeah, disappointing. I mean, Chris has covered the Dragons for so long. He really understands where the club's been. He understands the fans' pain, and his write-ups were really insightful. He always managed to put into words what I couldn't manage to get out of my mouth. He was really good. I think it's a loss. I mean, I paid my Argus a subscription and read anything Dragons, but you could churn out anything and I'd read it for the Dragons. But now I think, well, if it is going to be that general sort of reports without that detail and that sort of knowledge behind it, is there any point in subscribing? I want the Argus to do well, but if they're not providing what you need, it's a massive shame. So yeah, it's really sad to lose Chris, who's a good guy, to be fair.
It's pointless paying for something that isn't what you want, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know where people are going to go now to find out and get their Dragons fix. What are they going to do? There must be a podcast out there. I don't know.
What they need is a Dragons-based podcast.
Yeah.
Someone who's prepared to talk about Dragons losing every week and get their news analysis from there. But I've got no idea who that would be.
Without having a breakdown every week as well.
Exactly. The
Yeah,
thing
maybe
is,
if we do it for as long as Chris has done it, maybe we won't survive.
Well, maybe.
you talk about subscription. I was thinking about this the other day. So it's $1.99 for a digital subscription to Argus. Now you might
Yeah.
think, well, come on, mate, it's only $1.99. You know, when you're supporting local journalism, fine. I get that. I'm not being Scrooge about it. But I only subscribe for the sports coverage. I only subscribe to read Chris's articles on the Dragons and Newport County. So if
Yeah.
that's not there anymore,
Mm.
then it doesn't matter if it's $1.99, $9.99, or $20.99. I'm still paying for something that I don't think is going to be much
Yeah,
use to me anymore.
that you're not interested in.
No, exactly. But yeah, and like I said, he was a really good journalist. What I liked about Chris was he was fair and balanced when he needed to be, but also he was pretty critical and damning as well when it was justified. He was never negative. It was always constructive criticism. I never read a piece from Chris where I thought, oh, that's a bit harsh, mate. You know, I don't
Yeah.
agree with that. At his most critical, I thought he hit the nail on the head. And quite often, his opinion pieces really captured what I was feeling as a Dragon supporter, the frustration.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we won
yeah.
one league game last season. It would be easy to be very critical, but you're right. He did always give a constructive view, to be fair to him. And like you said as well, the other sports like outlets in Wales are so biased. It's always, and the Dragons. They almost feel aggrieved to mention us.
You listen to any podcast where it's Scrum 5 Wales Online, how many times? And finally, the Dragons. I mean, that's what we should have called this pod. I mean, if we had a bit more say in this pod, I know producer Lee has more say than I do. I would have called it "And Finally the Dragons" because that's what good. We're always left to last. But yet again, we know why. It's because of the reputation of the club with result.
Yeah, and we do need to change the narrative and sort of look after our own reputation. But yeah, it does matter, and it's also ill-informed sometimes.
Yeah,
that's what gets me. Like, okay, you can hate on us because we are crap, but at least be informed and get it right. And we get no credit for any of the good as well, off field and in the community, and that really does matter. We won community awards, never got mentioned. Sod them.
Yeah, we really do struggle for coverage in the Welsh rugby media. We're always last. It's the focus has always been more on the other three, particularly Cardiff and Scarlets. But like I said in the past, it's like, oh, whatever. We got the Argus, we got Chris, you know. And I'm really gonna miss his. I used to really enjoy reading his talking points column on a Sunday.
Yes,
it was really, really good. And he'd pick up on things in the game that I didn't pick up on. Do you know what I mean? I think, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that I missed that. I didn't see it, but yeah, it's a shame. I did message him as well, and he did say to me he's got some freelance rugby stuff lined up. So it's not the last rugby owner, Chris, and we'd like to thank him for coming on the pod as well, because yeah, he was a great guest on the pod. So yeah, it's a shame.
He's an actual sports journalist, isn't he?
I think he's one of the best. I think he's very underrated, actually. Very underrated. Good football and rugby, and like you said, sport in general.
Yeah.
Really good. So God knows what the Argus are going to do for Dragons coverage now, but yeah, it just feels like a bit of a loss. Anyway, let's talk about arrivals, because there has been some arrivals since we last recorded. So Tongan international Fetuli Paya has been signed from Zebra. Paya has won 12 caps for Tonga, and he can play inside and outside centre. That's handy. 17 appearances for Zebra last season. So he had a lot of first-team rugby. What did Philo have to say about him? Philo said he's a very talented centre who has played international rugby for Tonga and Super Rugby for Crusaders and the Highlanders. He'll bring a wealth of experience to the group. I didn't watch much of Zebra, but when I did, he was always one of the standout players. So I think he could be quite a handy player for us. Unfortunately, though, the Tongas we've signed, so we signed Finney and Issei and Fetuli Paya, they've been called up by Tonga for the Pacific Nations Cup, right? Which means if Tonga finish in the top two of their group, then they're not going to feature for the season opener at Ulster on Friday, the 26th of September. So we might not have them available for the first. I'm not being funny, but I'm almost hoping Tonga flop and we get them early so we can have them involved in Ulster. Because that's not a good
I'll
start,
stop you there. The Dragons players, they'll pick up an injury.
Of course they will.
They're coming back injured.
Are you being
Are we
negative,
sure
Gareth?
these-
Don't be so negative now. You know a certain person keeps saying we're negative. Don't be negative, mate.
Are we
Honestly.
sure these men exist? Can we just be 100% sure about that?
They definitely do exist.
Okay,
Yes.
good,
They're
good.
not NFTs. They're not holograms. They
Good.
yeah.
No,
So
good signing.
yeah. So a pair of them are good signers, to be fair. Tonga hosts Samoa on Saturday, August 23rd. They travel to Fiji the next weekend. That's followed by semi-finals and the fifth place playoff in Denver for some reason, September the 14th.
Because USA's in it.
Oh, of course.
USA
Yeah.
and Japan are in it as well.
Yeah. And then the final and bronze match in Salt Lake City on September the 20th. So there's a good chance, even if they don't go sort of all the way, we probably won't have them for the opener against Ulster. So, yeah. Any other thoughts on Paya? Do you rate him? Did you even know who he was? Be honest. When we announced him, did you think, who's he?
That's exactly what I thought.
I didn't know who either of them was really. I vaguely knew the lad was a centre at Zebra, but I couldn't talk about him at any length.
And when I read that he'd played that much for Zebra last year, I thought, great. So he's durable. Zebra were better than they had been, and he looks a big boy. But I was like, why have I not heard of him? Why is he not, like, he's obviously not ripped up trees, but does he improve the squad of what we've got at 13? Yes. So in that case, I'm happy.
And we talked about the need to do that, didn't we? So, you know, we can't really criticise him for setting out to do the thing we asked him to do.
Is he around 29, 30? Is that right?
Yeah, he's late 20s, I think, yeah.
That's the profile of the player we need in the back line, so I'll take that.
If you remember when we lost to Zebra, you know the game when we was 21-7 up?
Yes.
And we really should have won. It happened a few times, didn't it, during the season, but we was 21-7 up, and of course, we blew it in true Dragons style. Paya scored against us, and it should not have stood because it was a double movement.
Double movement,
Remember that? Does that refresh your memory now, Gav?
That does, yeah.
That try they scored, it was like, hang on, that's a double movement. Well, that was him. He scored that try. So, yeah. He looks a unit, mind. He looks like a physical centre, and I think that's something who can...
We do need people who can break the gain line, get us going, and you think he's got that profile, and he's on the wing. I think he's a good option for me. I think he looks like a player who can beat a man, so yeah, we'll wait and see.
Okay.
Yeah, and Nisi looks decent as well, but I just, I want to see what he looks like defensively, because I've seen the highlights reel where, it shows all the sexy rugby.
Don't take any notice of highlights reels, right? C.O. Tompkinson, Brandon Nansen, Harry Wilson. We've seen this before from the Dragons. So just because a highlight reel looks really good, when they get to the Dragons, sometimes it's a very different story. So take every highlight reel you see from the club with a pinch of salt. Just saying that's all, because we've seen this happen too many times.
It's not just us, it's all clubs.
No, that's a fair point. That's a fair point, yeah.
I always remember, not a rugby thing, as you know, I follow Southampton, and about 20 years ago, we signed this Ecuadorian player called Agustin Delgado, and they showed the video screen up at St. Mary's, and honestly, he looked like the greatest player you've ever seen. I then saw him playing a cup game against Rotherham where he hit the bar from 2 yards out.
Yes, indeed. Speaking of players who can get you over the gain line, now I'm happy with this sign. I know you two are lukewarm about it, but I'm happy. Who fancies a Big Mac? Who likes Big Macs? Are we Big Mac fans on you? I love a big juicy Big Mac. Seriously, do you like Big Macs? No, hang on, Gav. Just stick with the Big Mac analogy first.
Well, Big Macs. No,
yeah, do you actually like a Big Mac?
No, there's too much crap in them. I want a quarter pounder of cheese if I'm having McDonald's. I don't Big Mac. Don't sauce getting everywhere.
Oh, it's lovely, the burger sauce. Gav, are you a Big Mac fan?
Oh, I'm not. I'm more of a chicken nuggets man.
Oh, you pair of boring bastards. Anyway, Dragons have signed Welsh international and Cardiff number 8, Mackenzie Martin, Big Mac, on loan. So Big Mac made just 6 appearances for Cardiff last season, all of them off the bench. And then he made 9 appearances for Cardiff RFC in Super Rugby Cymru. 4 of those appearances were as lock. The 21-year-old Famili currently has 5 Wales caps. really interesting signing this. So Wales Online put a couple of articles, didn't they, saying we was interested in signing Mackenzie Martin, but he was under contract and still is. So he has another year left to run. So his contract runs out next summer, which is really interesting. Like I said, I'm pleased with this because I think he gives us something different in the back row. He's a big man. He can get us over the game line. But on the group chat, you two weren't as keen about this as I was. Well, let's come to you then, Gavin, first. So have you thought any more about Big Mac?
Right.
Are you changed your opinion? Or?
Physically, great unit. Yeah, big bloke. Was he 6'5", 18 stone, big lad, quite athletic. But that's all it is at the minute, and I'm not sure we've got time for a project.
Okay, interesting. Gareth, what about you?
Yeah, he's not a player that I'd say I've hugely rated, although I've probably got a bit of bias against Cardiff players, and look how good Shane Lewis-Hughes turned out to be. But are we better having him than not having him? Yes.
Yeah.
He's a proper number 8. At times last season, we fielded 3 6s playing together, which for me is just an absolute disaster. So we needed another out-and-out 8. I know he's played lock, but he's not a lock. He's an 8. If he can come on, get us over the gain line, great, when Wayno's not there. I think we do need that balance. Don't think he's an absolute world beater, but happy to be proven wrong. And, if he's come here hungry with a point to prove, then good. It's up to Philo to get the most out of him, really, as an X8 himself.
Yeah.
I do agree with you on that, I think. That, there's no loss in it. I'm just not getting excited about it.
Yeah, it's not, are we going to sign a tight head? No, we've signed Mackenzie Martin instead. He's just, as on his own, he's an addition to the squad, which, yeah, I'm happy to have him on board, I guess.
Yeah, when we signed him, there was a lot of fingers pointed and questions being asked about Cardiff as to why he had such a outstanding breakthrough season, but in the next he seems to have just not featured at all from him. And if you speak to Cardiff supporters, they say, yeah, but we've had Faletau, we've had Alan Lawrence, so, he hasn't been able to get into the team. Alan Lawrence played 23 matches for Cardiff last season. To be fair, he had a very good season. He was a starter in 78% of those games he played. He did win an award, didn't he, from the URC? I can't remember what it was, but yeah, he was pretty good, to be fair, Alan Lawrence. In the case of Faletau, he returned to action quite late in the season, didn't he? So he returned in December, and then he was away with Wales in the Six Nations. How many games do you think Faletau played for Cardiff last season?
Not many. 4?
So Faletau
8.
played, yes, correct. He played 8 games. He played 6 in the URC and 2 in the Challenge Cup. So I'm not entirely buying this idea that he was, he couldn't get in the team because of Faletau and Lawrence. It's more likely that Lawrence kept him out with his form. I think Jockey could have had many more opportunities to play Mackenzie Martin in that Cardiff team. Cardiff fans will disagree, but I'm sorry, Faletau didn't play enough to be saying, well, he kept him out of the team. He just didn't. The stats don't back that up. So he could have played more for Cardiff, but Jockey felt it was good for him to play in Super Rugby Cymru. Don't know whose decision it was to play him a lock, whether it was Jockey's or Dan Fish, who's the Rags coach. But he just wants to play regular rugby, doesn't he? That's the impression I get from his interview. He just wants to play.
Yeah, I remember early in the season when he went to play for the Rags that it was him who requested to go and play. He wanted to get rugby, which probably says a lot about his character. He'd just become a Welsh international the season before. But he's like, no, I want to play. I'll play SRC. So fair play to him for that. That's a good attitude to have.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I've seen people say, oh, but, how much game time is he going to get? Dragons are stacked in the back row. It is true. We are stacked in the back row. I think Mackenzie Martin will get plenty of game time at the Dragons. Firstly, Aaron Wainwright will be away with Wales and will no doubt pick up injuries. Not injury prone, but he's bound to pick up injuries along the way. Funaki, we don't know what's happening with him. His fitness is very much in question, isn't it? Is he going to actually play any games next season? We don't know.
It looks like he's training, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. But like I said, his fitness is he's had a very, very bad knee injury.
Yes.
He's been a year out, doesn't he?
He's been a long time out, so we don't know if he's going to hold up. We got Keddy, who can play 8. We can we got Shane Lewis-Hughes who can play 8, but they're
They're
not
not
out and out
eights.
They're
8.
not
No,
eights.
they're not eights.
Big Mac is an out and out 8, and I think he could be a very important part. Actually, the Dragons 23. I'm not saying he's going to start every week, but think about it. Having him come off the bench with his size, right, and ball carry, and this is a guy that can get you over the game line. And players of Mackenzie Martin's size and ability, they don't come along too often in Welsh rugby. He's a big guy.
Yeah.
He's fucking massive, Mackenzie Martin. So we have got to make the most out of him and get the best out of him, because I think he's a guy you can come off with 10, 15 minutes left and add some energy and add some ball carry and really get us crashing over the game line. So I think he could be a very important part, actually, of the Dragons 23. So I do see him getting game time, despite some people questioning whether he would or not. I actually think he will. And I think
Well,
if Wainwright's not available for international duty, you can see him start in the date, can't you?
Well, yeah, we say we're stacked in the back row, but it is such an attritional position. Last season, we were short.
Yeah.
So to have players that could add impact off the bench, and you think, you could have him and maybe Levi Douglas, that's a couple of units coming on. So it's not something we've had this season. So yeah, happy to have him.
We do lack game line breakers, don't we? That's.
And he'll give you that. And look, he's very young. I think people forget just how young he was. The problem was, I think Gatland actually hindered his development in some ways because he chucked him into international rugby far too soon. He should never have been playing international rugby in his very first season, the senior rugby. I think that was a mistake. He did all right for Wales, but I think in some ways when you chuck him in too soon, we've seen it with Alex Mann and Cam Winnett as well. Sometimes they should have been left to develop a bit more, shouldn't they, at club level, and chucked too soon. But I'm pleased with it. I'm pleased with the signing. I think he could be a really good part of the Dragons match day 23 and an integral member of the squad. Like I said, his contract is up next year. No guarantees he'll sign it for Cardiff, because I was thinking, well, if he actually likes it, the Dragons, and he does well, then there is an opportunity here for the Dragons to sign him long term. And that really would boil some piss at Cardiff, which is why I think we should absolutely do it. And I hope he goes well. However, with the way Welsh rugby is at the moment and the uncertainty, then maybe we'll be going back to Cardiff because we don't know how long we're going to exist. But we'll talk about that a bit later. But yeah, I'm happy with it. I think it's a good move. Let's just see how he goes. This is a low risk signing, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, if it doesn't go well or he hasn't made the impact we wanted, off you go to CF10. Back you go. It's no big deal, is it? If he does do well, then maybe, and we know that we have a future, we should do everything we can to sign him up. Bear in mind that this is Aaron Wainwright's last year at the Dragons.
Yeah.
And that's something that really does need to be thought about, especially with the landscape of Welsh rugby.
He's one of the best players in Wales. He'd be mad to stay.
But what I'm saying is Mackenzie Martin could be the successor to Aaron Wainwright, couldn't he?
Yes.
If it goes well, and we know that, we got a future, he could be, and he likes it, obviously. There's a lot of moving parts to this, but he could replace Waino. But
if he's well coached, because he's got, like Gatland said, you can't coach someone to be 6'5" and 18 stone. So that it's, but you can coach him to be a better rugby player. Yeah, I'm not like when it was announced, I wasn't woo, this is brilliant, but there's no risk. So surely that's not a bad thing.
Seems like a nice guy. He has liked a lot of our posts on X as well. He doesn't follow the account, but he has liked a lot of.
I was also a huge fan of the bloke who described him as fat and lazy, and he was like, "You wouldn't say that to me in the street." Did you see that response?
Fair play to him, sticking up for himself. People on X give your head a wobble. Like, don't go saying that to people. It's not on, is it?
I mean,
fair play to him.
I wouldn't say that to anyone anyway, because I'm not a nasty bloke like that. But I certainly wouldn't say it to someone of Mackenzie Martin's size.
Yeah, sod that.
No, absolutely not. So Big Mac, he's with us. And he looks happy as well in the training photos.
He does.
He's got a smile on his face. He generally looks happy, doesn't he?
Yeah. I think I'm coming round more to him now, seeing him in Dragons colours. It's just the highlights reels, him in Cardiff colours, and I just can't stand him.
I know.
Don't trust highlights reels, Gareth.
No, exactly. I think the fans will take to him. I think he could be, even if he's with us for just a year, I think the fans will really take to him on the terraces. If he does well.
Yeah, I hope so.
I could see him being an adopted man of Gwent. Anyway, What else have we got then? So this is not confirmed by the Dragons, but this was in Wales Online. So whether you want to take that with a pinch of salt or not, it's up to you. But Wales Online are reporting that, steady on now, Gav, Rhys Patchell has joined the Dragons. Not as a player, though, as a kicking coach. So the 32-year-old will work with the Dragons for 2 days a week as a kicking coach, helping the likes of new signing Tina Stabia, Angus O'Brien, Kai Evans, and promising Wales under-20s outside half Harry Ford. So like I said, this is not confirmed by the club, but Wales Online is saying that it's a done deal. We have signed him. Well, I did say we needed a kicking coach. I did say that on the pod last season. We needed, because our goal kicking, and David Buttress referenced it on the interview, missing kicks in front of, I'm not going to name the players, they knew who they were, missing kicks in front of posts. Our goal kicking percentage was shocking, quite frankly. And it cost us games. In some, we always talk about the Ulster game, don't we? If we kicked those goal kicks, that would have been a win over Ulster. We haven't beaten them for ages.
And one of the Safa games as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, you can look back over the season and pick out, goal kicks that really should have been scored.
Yeah.
Well, not simple, but strict ones you'd expect a professional fly half to convert. I know it's not as a player, Gav, but Rhys Patchell is coming to Dragons. You are getting what you wanted. In some ways.
Partially.
You wanted Rhys Patchell? Here he is. He's just not
I wanted Rhys Patchell as 10. And I still want Rhys Patchell as 10.
It'd be all right if he was a player coach, wouldn't it? I think that would get fans a lot more sort of, oh, he's a player coach, so.
Well, I don't understand why you wouldn't do it.
I think it's
Money,
him, innit?
maybe.
He's got a young family, the 2 day a week thing. I think he was on Scrum 5 and said the next move is going to be what's right for his family. That's the motivation. But, Rodney Parade's quite welcoming. Bring him down, mate. Don't worry.
He's from Cardiff. It's not far.
Yeah, but maybe he doesn't want to be playing for us. So maybe this will just suit him, be coaching 2 days a week. No, I'm not saying that to be funny, but maybe he just didn't fancy it.
Well, in this case, it's not about what Rhys Patchell wants, it's about what I want. And I want
right, okay, as long as what you want, then fair enough.
Rhys,
okay.
If you're listening, I'm not saying don't take care of your family, but also we need a 10, so just saying.
I tell you what, actually, Jim, you mentioned it there, maybe it's not what he wants. I think that's our problem. We're not that attractive a proposition, are we? We won one league game last season.
You're sounding negative now, mate. You sound a bit negative.
But it's
I
true,
don't want people listening to us thinking we're negative.
Yeah, no, I don't
Sorry,
want
this is an in-joke for the listeners. Don't worry, you don't need to know about this. Me and Gav know what's happening here. Go on.
But I'm genuinely really pleased with our recruitment. I think we've made some really good signings. A lot of what I would say are like Moneyball signings as well. And that's despite us being an attractive proposition. So maybe that's it with Patchell. My theory is he just doesn't fancy preseason. He's going to pop up.
I'm with him on that.
Do a bit of kicking and then go on in, guys. I'll have a run out, and he'll be playing.
I'm absolutely with him on RAA preseason, but
So we wait and see what the club say. But like I said, they haven't confirmed it, but we're only saying we've got him as kicking coach. Like I said, I think it's a really good move. I actually think Patch is going to be a very good coach. He's very intelligent. And I know he's done a lot of, he has coached a lot of junior teams as well, isn't he? So, I think that's a good move.
We need more good people in the building, don't we?
Exactly. And like I said, our goal kicking last season just wasn't good enough. You can't be missing kicks in front of the post. David was right. I'm sorry. No way. So, let's see what the club, or when the club announce that. Another announcement, finally, Dragons confirmed the sign of South African tight end Robert Hunt from the Cheetahs. Took ages, didn't it? Why did it take so long? It was a paperwork issue. That was the cause of all today. There were some supporters panicking. Have we signed him? Have we signed him? We haven't announced it yet. Why haven't we announced it yet? But he says on his Instagram, Dragons. So he must have signed for us. Well, he hasn't signed if club haven't made it official. Oh, what's going on? Maybe it fell through. Maybe the deal fell through. No, it was just a paperwork issue. That's all it was. That was the only thing holding it up. But forwards coach Sam Hobbs says he has URC experience, having played with the Bulls, and has performed strongly, particularly at set piece with the Cheetahs in the Challenge Cup and the Currie Cup the last couple of seasons. In the prime of his career, Rob will add quality and depth to our senior tight end position, further strengthening an exciting competition with Dylan Lewis and Welsh international Chris Coleman for the starting free jersey. I added a Welsh international bit in there. Yeah, it's done. We got a scrummage in South African tight head. Sounds good, doesn't it?
That's great. I think that's what I'm saying. We're signing like Moneyball players, so we're not going to get the world's best tight head who can do it all. We're not signing Ty Furlong, but he can scrummage. That's what we need from our tight head. Mackenzie Martin, we need an 8 who can power us over the gain line if we haven't got Wainwright. These type of signings are what we need. Just lock that scrum out, mate. Job done. That is all I want from our tight heads at the moment. And we're building a nice little bit of depth in the front row. I'm pretty pleased with it. The best depth at prop we've had in a long time. Sorry, yeah, go on.
No, I was going to say his highlight reel was actually one that I could get him on board with, because all I saw him was driving prop forwards up into the air and making the occasional tackle.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was nothing fancy there. He just drove quite hard.
Yeah. Exactly what we need.
Robert Hunt needs to be for us what Tom Beaufort is for the Ospreys.
Yes.
That's what we need.
Yeah.
Nothing fancy. Just a South African tight head who can scrummage and do his job at set piece, who can do the bread and butter.
Reliability. You just want somebody when he comes on and go, well, the scrum's not going backwards.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a good signing. It's a depth signing. I'm looking forward to see how he gets on. So that's been finally confirmed. Other signings news, fly off Jack Lloyd, brother of Owen Lloyd, of course, and utility back David Richards has been signed from Super Rugby Cymru champions Newport. Again, these are depth signings. I am glad that Jack Lloyd is on the books at the Dragons. A few supporters have said we need to sign up Jack Lloyd because he could go to another region. He was very, very good for Newport, him and David Richards. He's got a lot of work on, so of course he's young. But I can remember back in the day when he was at Bristol, there were reports of people saying, coaches, he's actually better than his brother Yohan. He's got more potential. That was the wording from people at Bristol. So yeah, he's one for the future, but I'm glad he's on the books. And also, I'm really pleased to see Di Richards back. I liked him when he was with us, Di Richards, but he had that awful injury. Do you remember that hamstring injury against, I think it was the Lions out in South Africa? And
he was scoring as well?
No, that was it. He got injured when he scored against Zebra. I think he scored a hat-trick that night to Rodney Parade, didn't he? But no, I think this injury was done in South Africa, and he never really recovered from it. So Dragons released him. He went to Newport, and he's been playing mostly at the centre. And he's been really, really good. So I'm pleased to have him back. I don't think they're going to feature much for the Dragons next season. These are purely just there for depth. If we do need him, they're there. But I am glad about Jack Lloyd because I think he's talented. Like his brother is talented, but hopefully he has a bit more control of fly off and not like a headless chicken like Yohan can be. But
Yeah, good. And to have him and then Patchell in the building again, another good reason why it's good to have Patchell there. Even if he's not playing. Definitely happy with Di Richards. I believe when he had that injury the following season, wasn't that when all the budgets were cut?
I think it was.
It was a bit of bad timing as well, and players had to drop down. But he certainly has a lot of talent. If he can get back to the promise he had then. So, yeah, good depth signings.
And that's all you want, isn't it?
Yeah.
You want a couple of guys who are going to change the face of the team, but depth signings are all right as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you follow women's rugby, Di Richards is the older brother of Wales international Catherine Richards.
Oh, really?
Which I didn't know. Did you know that, Kath? Because you follow the women's game, didn't you?
I do. I didn't know that, no.
Yeah, brother of Catherine Richards.
Well,
talented family.
Good player.
Should we talk about Wales? Because after 644 days, Wales finally won a game of Test rugby. But not only that, the best news of all is Chris Coleman, we can now say, is officially, no laughing, he's a Welsh international and he has a 100% win record for Wales. Fact.
Yes, Super Chrissy Coleman.
Super Chrissy Coleman. You'll be singing that on the terrace. 100%. I won't be singing that for my gold seat in the Bisley, I can tell you that right now. We got standards over there. I'm pleased. I'm delighted. I am delighted for Chris. So from a Dragons perspective, what happened in these tests? Well, Wales lost the first one. So Ben Carter lasted just 24 seconds after he got knocked out. It was really
Oh.
nasty injury. It was
That was
horrible,
horrible, yeah.
really horrible. But Elliot, he did say at halftime he was up and about, he was talking, so that was good. He flew home later in the week, and we wish him all the very best in his recovery. Hopefully, he'll be available for the start of the season. But that was so disappointing because he worked hard to get back in the Wales team. He was in good form, and to see that happen is.
He looks massive as well.
He's bulked up. Yeah, he's bulked up.
He's the biggest player on the pitch. So I was like, come on, Ben. He's had rotten luck with injuries to Wales. He's quality. I'll always say it. He's underrated in Wales. I think Ben Carter's top class.
Yeah, he's undervalued by supporters of the other regions for some reason. They just look at Ben and they don't rate him, and they're wrong.
Yeah,
quite frankly, because he's a very good player.
100%.
He's a very good player.
No, he is a good player, and he's a big physical unit, and he's kicked on a lot more than like Chris Schunzer, who was like the future of the game.
Well, yeah, that's someone who is overrated in my personal opinion.
Oh, yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah. What else happened? Bizarrely, frustratingly, Rodri Williams was an unused substitute in the first test. Jockey inexplicably kept on Kieran Hardy, who I have to say was absolute bobbins all throughout Japan. And just because he scored 2 tries in the second test doesn't cover up how awful he was. It's a shame because I like Kieran Hardy. He was really good form for the Ospreys in season, but he stunk the place out in both tests.
Both games. Yeah, he was responsible for the Japan tries that got him back in the game in the second game, in the second half. And in the first game, it was like, I described it to someone as his passing was like his hands were made out of cooked spaghetti. There was just absolutely no stability in his hands, and just dropping. It was awful.
Because people were talking about Dan Edwards when he dropped that pass. It was intercepted. No, it wasn't Dan Edwards' fault. It was the bloody pass from Hardy.
Yeah,
it was
terrible. It was a shocking pass. I thought Dan Edwards played well, personally.
He did. Yeah, have a very good game. But for Rodri not to come on the field at all, and for no logical explanation given, I thought was really poor management from Jockey.
Ridiculous. He's had a good impact when he'd come on for Wales before. Just think, why you in those conditions use him? Let alone your 9 is stinking out the place.
That was it. If Hardy was having a good game, you could probably think, I don't want to take him off now because Hardy's got some momentum. He's playing well. But he's rubbish. He was absolute rubbish. In the second test, Wainwright was absolutely outstanding.
Oh my days, what a guy.
I tried to find out who was player of the match. I couldn't find it anywhere. It should have been him, although I do accept that Josh McLeod had a very good game as well.
Yes, he did.
Oh, Josh McLeod was player of the game.
He was officially. Are you sure?
Yeah, he was. He got the award. Yeah.
Because I don't know, I saw Gav Thomas hold that massive bottle of what is it, Lipton V, is it? Whatever it's called, that energy drink they have in Japan. So I don't know.
Wainwright was amazing. He would have had man the match.
That was the trophy for the game. That was the Lipton V thing.
If Josh Adams had kept hold of that ball, that would have been a great assist from Wayno as well. That kick through.
Oh, I know, it's beautiful. When a beautiful rubber through, and
that's his footballing background. Wainwright, when he's like that, I just sit back. You just enjoy it. He's an absolute joy to watch. I thought he was awesome.
Yeah,
absolutely
that was
awesome.
Wainwright back to his Talamatic best. He's been such a talisman for Wales, and that was him back to his best. He hasn't been poor like some people have been saying.
No.
Because some people say, he hasn't been good for a while. Well, no,
he's not been as good as he can be, though, has he?
When he was Wales Player of the Year, I mean, high standards. I honestly don't think he'd have been out of place on the Lions tour with the back rowers there. He wouldn't have looked out of place. I think he's absolute quality, to be fair.
Well, in my unbiased opinion, he was player of the match as far as I'm concerned. I thought he was outstanding. And then Chris Coleman came off the bench. And he gave a good account of himself. No penalties given away. Looked reasonably solid in the scrum. There was that one scrum that went backwards a little bit, the first one. But no penalty. He was fine.
Going backwards the entire time, though, weren't we? Like in both tests.
We were. But the second scrum, mind he was in, it was rock solid.
That was a big scrum, actually, to be fair, that second scrum. Because I was watching it and obviously, you love our boys. You watch ours, you're like, come on, Chris. And it was absolutely solid as a rock. And I was like, and seeing like the build-up, I didn't realize how much I'd care. Like the pictures of him training, you're thinking, fucking go on, Chris. Like he's one of us. Like he's our boy. Get in there. So really chuffed to see Coleman get
I was
the cap.
watching it. I was thinking, oh, please don't give away a penalty now. Please,
Yeah.
please don't, because you
Yeah.
know what people be saying on social media. They'll be
Yeah.
having a pop at him, and I was willing him to do well. And to be fair, credit to him. I mean, I don't know how many more caps he'll get, but he's going to, well, he has returned over now as a Welsh international. So that's another Welsh international Dragons have developed. Because we
Can't
don't
take that
develop
away
Welsh
from him.
internationals, do we? Apparently, we don't develop any Wales players. So yeah, that's quite nice to have. Elliot D was overlooked for Liam Belcher for both tests, which absolutely baffles me. Because
Yeah.
look, let's cut to the chase now, right, guys? You know I don't bullshit, right? I'll tell us it is, right? This is part of the problem why I get in trouble. Liam Belcher was a sympathy cap. He was a sympathy cap by Sherratt. Let's be honest about it, he was. And I thought, okay, fine. First test, I don't mind that because he was always going to get a cap. Fair enough. But I couldn't believe he'd been overlooked again for the second test. Although to be fair,
Yes.
Belcher did okay in the second test, but the first test, he was
Well,
rubbish straight off the bench.
If he had hit his darts on that first test, I think Wales closed out that game because there's a couple of real crucial lineouts. I actually lost a bit of respect for Sherratt on some of the picks, not bringing on Rodri. D is the best lineout hooker we have. How he didn't
100%.
get a look in is
100%.
absolutely. Also, it's not like his lineout is outstanding. He's a good player, good work rate around the field, exactly what you want in those conditions. Absolute shambles of a call not to have him on there. And you're right, yeah, it was just a sympathy cap. I think some of the selections, like Johnny Williams at 13, just pick people in the proper position. We've got plenty of talent. Pick them. Absolutely mad. But we won,
Why
so we
don't
should
we
be
do
happy.
that? Why in Welsh rugby have we currently got this obsession of not picking centres in the actual position they play in?
Like
It's-
picking Grady at 12 when he had never played 12 before. You're like, well, it's not the place to experiment, is it?
And you know, I was a terrible centre when I played, but and that was a long time ago now. It was still 4 points a try last time I played in the centres. But
Yeah.
defensively, it's an entirely different job than anywhere else in the back line.
Yeah. I'm pleased for the players, pleased for the coaching staff. I will say, though, I do think this tour exposed some of Jockey's weaknesses as a coach and his flaws. So if you speak to any Cardiff fan, they will back me up on this. Sherratt's use of the bench is notoriously quite bad. He doesn't like making changes. When he does make changes, he does it too late. And like you said, some of the positional selections he made didn't work. I don't think his style of rugby is for the test match arena. I think he does fine for Cardiff. It works okay, but I don't think his style of philosophy of rugby just suits the test match arena.
Well,
But
Cardiff don't win that many games either.
no, but they're better than us, though, aren't they? And to be fair, they did.
Low bar, but yeah.
They screwed it, didn't they, with the playoffs? They were fifth for a little while, then they absolutely blew it, and that was their own fault. But again, that was down to Sherratt's selection because he got the selection wrong, didn't he? In the first,
Yes.
I can't remember who they played first in South Africa. He played a weakened team, didn't get any bonus points. So
Sharks, was it?
I can't remember who it was. Oh no, Bulls. No, it was the Bulls, wasn't it? Because there were a few Cardiff fans grumbling about why didn't they go stronger. So yeah, he's a good attack coach, but yeah, some glaring weaknesses with his use of the bench, and I don't think his style of play suits Wales. So I'm glad he's not going to be an option for Wales, because there was talk about him being a permanent option, wasn't there, for Wales going forward? But I don't think that would be the right call.
After one good half against Ireland, everybody was saying it, weren't they? But
yeah, I think he'd be a decent attack coach, mind. You know, if Wales, we're going to bring in we're still waiting for a head coach for Gatland. I can see Sherratt being a good attack coach, but I don't think
it feels like ages ago since Gatland left as well.
that seems to have gone quiet, doesn't it? The whole who's going to take over.
Yeah. But I felt Rodri Williams and Elliot D, I think they can feel quite aggrieved about the way they were handled on that too. And I don't think that's sour grapes. I do generally think they were hard done by. Rodri should have come off the bench for that first test, and Elliot should have been on the bench for the second. But there we are.
At least they didn't get injured.
Exactly. There we are. Wales finally won a game, and I guess also that's all that matters, isn't it? Right, before we move on then, if you like what we do, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. 5-star review, you know the rules, you know what you got to do. 5-star review will get you a mention on the pod. And if you prefer to watch us on YouTube, and I don't know why you would, but if you do, then don't forget to subscribe to the Rap YouTube channel. Right, okay. I think we need to talk about it now. Should we talk about the WRU shit show?
Is that the
Oh.
official title?
Yes. Yeah, let's go into it then. So the WRU has announced that it intends to implement a radical restructuring of the professional game in Wales for the 2027/28 season, which could see the number of professional teams reduced. So in a statement, the WRU said the current system is failing and it's unsustainable. And it's already confirmed it does not intend to continue equally funding the 4 professional teams. So a consultation process between the WRU and the 4 professional clubs and other key stakeholders will take place over August and September. The consultation will cover the entire framework from pathways to professional club structure and the senior men's and women's game. So this is not just about regional rugby. This is a review covering the whole spectrum of the game. So I think that's important to note. They will then confirm the next steps in October following board approval. So we should hear from the WRU in October about whether they're going to cut a team or what they're going to do. Do we think we'll stick to that deadline October?
No.
We'll wait and see. No. So key potential developments to be consulted on include this. Whether there should be a reduction to 3 or 2 regional men's teams to ensure that we have teams that can compete at the top of the professional game. So this is significant because this is the first time the WRU have come out and said they are considering reducing the number of regions. They haven't done this before, to my knowledge. Yes, in the past they've said stuff like, nothing's off the table, but that's such a vague statement, isn't it? Nothing's off the table. This was the first time they mentioned it in detail that they are considering a reduction. So that's pretty significant. What else are they going to discuss? Further investment in Super Rugby Cymru to strengthen the semi-pro game in Wales. Significant investment in player development and pathways, a national centre providing development for elite players, coaches and staff, professional sides being home to both men and women's teams. So whatever teams are left, there will be a women's team alongside playing at the home ground. The funding model to underpin success to ensure that the new model is financially sustainable and that teams are long-term investable propositions in partnership with the WRU. So just to give a bit of context, the current professional rugby agreement, the PRA, that runs out in 2027. It was due to be replaced with a new 5-year deal, which was signed, of course, by WRU Cardiff and us, the Dragons, but it wasn't signed by Ospreys and Scarlets. The 4 sides are expected to continue to exist in their current form until at least June 2027. But now the future of the regions will be under fresh scrutiny. So one of these teams, if they are going to cut, they're going to have 2 years left. That's basically what they're saying. Media reports says the URC would prefer the WRU to cut to 2 teams rather than 3 because 2 isn't even a number, and they've been in talks with 2 American franchises about joining the league, which is just
I'm off it.
Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, I like the URC, but as if it's not a convoluted mess already. Now they want to bring in American teams. Yeah, excellent. More travel, more expense. Marvelous. Yeah. There's also a chance an Anglo-Welsh league could be formed if Wales does go down to 2 teams. So yeah, that's the gist of it. It's hard to know where to start with this one, isn't it? Who wants to go first on this? Who wants to talk about this?
I'll let Gareth go first.
Go on then, Gareth. Your reaction to the news that Wales is now considering reducing to 2 teams. Oh, well, apparently, according to media reports, they want to reduce to 2 teams.
I mean, I think there's a lot of detail we can get into, like what does a development team look like and not who should be cut. I don't want any team to be cut. But for me as well, like there's an emotional level. Like I'd be genuinely gutted I'd be devastated to lose the club that I've always supported. I was speaking to my dad the other day. He's been going over Rodney Parade for 60 years. He went with his dad. He will next season go over with his grandson, my boy. It's a time that it's not just about the rugby. It's time to spend with family. It's time you can spend with your friends. And I'd be devastated to lose that. But I'm lucky. I've got great friends and family around me. But not everybody is that lucky. And for some, rugby is one of the only constants in life. And I think it's really damaging for people to lose that. And I think that's genuinely concerning. And then for the city of Newport to lose pro sport in Newport, because where would county play? I feel like that would really be a nail in the coffin of Newport's social scene and really detrimental to the sort of economy of Newport, Gwent, Monmouthshire. I genuinely feel that Newport Council, Blind Gwent, Monmouthshire Council, they should be lobbying and putting pressure on the WRU to help keep the drivers, or at least offer any support they can, because it's their communities that are going to be really affected. And I feel like they should be putting their weight behind this, because I think it'd be absolutely devastating, not just to a fan who wants to go over and have a beer on a Friday, but to a community that is part of the region. I think it's absolutely devastating what could happen. I do not want to see us go in any way, shape, or form, or any other region for that matter.
No, you raise a really interesting point, and I think it's a point that not many people are taking into account with Newport County. Now, I know some Dragons fans won't care, but what would happen to Rodney Parade if the Dragons are cut? Newport County are our tenants.
Yeah.
They would be homeless. Look, I go over to Newport Stadium, Spitty, to see Newport RFC. I did it a couple of times when I wasn't watching County and Dragons. That is not fit for professional sport.
No, it is not.
County can't go back there. I mean, they might have to, I guess, if, worst comes to the worst. But that is not a professional stadium. That's not a professional stadium. It's fit for purpose. It's fine for Newport RFC. It's fine for Newport City FC, who play there, another amateur team. But it's not fit for pro sport. I think you're going to kill pro sport in Newport and Gwent if the Dragons are cut. It's a very good point. And just to add, I did have a brief exchange on X with the 1912 Exiles pod, who been keeping aware of the situation. And I did say all Newport County supporters need to keep in touch with this now. They need to see what's happening. Even if they don't like rugby, they should be keeping a very close eye on what's happening, because it does affect them. They could potentially be homeless. And Rodney Parade, God forbid, if the Dragons are cut, that could be knocked down for housing development or giant bloody Tesco's or something like that. Like, that if we go down to two teams, the threat is real. And it's a really important point about the economy, the pubs. The pubs are struggling now, aren't they? In the city centre.
It's the footfall.
Yeah.
Me and my friends, we go to Newport for a pint to then walk over the game. If there's no game on in town, are we going to be in town? I don't know. You lose that footfall.
Absolutely.
My wife might drop me in and she might do shopping, not to be stereotypical, but that's a situation that happens. Gotta be careful. You're like, well, you're losing that footfall, because I'm not getting dropped into town, am I? It's really damaging. I genuinely think County fans, they should be back in any way we can support the Dragons and pro sport. We should be. I think anyone who's got a voice it. We all need to show that we are here and we're not going anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. And Rodney Parade is a community hub as well.
Yeah.
People forget that it is a hub for the community. You think of all the training camps you have here, sporting memories.
Yeah.
It's a really important community hub for a lot of people in here. And if it's gone, then it just doesn't be a thing.
Well, the amount of teams the Dragons do, there's the All-Stars, the wheelchair rugby, there's so much that Dragons do in the community, and to have that taken away. That's
award-winning community team, as you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
So the work we do in the community.
What are all these kids and people in the community going to be doing without it? The council are going to have to pick up the slack. So you might as well just support the Dragons now.
Gavin, what's your take on this statement and proposal to?
So if the WRU had a chance to do this, they had a chance to do this 21 years ago when we went to the regional game, but they bowed under the pressure of some clubs that will remain nameless. It's not the time now. You've missed our opportunity. There are communities absolutely rooted in major towns and cities in the country, and to cut two of them, well, do they not want those people to go to rugby anymore? Is that the plan? Because let's hypothetically state there's a West Wales team based in Llanelli, and there's an East Wales team based in Cardiff, which will have Cardiff in its name, and the Llanelli team would have Llanelli in its name. None of us are going, are we? None
No.
of us would go, because how many people would say, I'm from East Wales? Nobody, absolutely nobody. You say, I'm from the cities, I'm from Cardiff, I'm from Newport, or you're from the valleys. Nobody says, I'm from East Wales. West Wales is a thing, but Swansea isn't really West Wales. Swansea is South Wales, and West Wales is like Carmarthenshire, Pembrokeshire, that bit. You know, it's nonsense. We know where the Dragons are based. They play in Newport, in black and amber. What colours are an East Wales team going to play in?
Yeah.
Blue and black, probably.
Again, look, I just think we need to start being honest about it, right? If the WRU, because they haven't come out and specifically said we're going to cut to 2. What they've said is it's a consultation to reduce the number of regions. But Wales Online and Daily Mail and other media outlets are really pushing this narrative. They've been driving it forward. And they are convinced that the WRU are going to cut to 2. That's what they're saying. That's the likely direction of travel. If it cuts to 2, let's be honest, it's going to be Cardiff, it's going to be the Scarlets.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry to say that, but the Ospreys are not going to survive. And I like the Ospreys. I like the Ospreys a lot, but there's still some doubt about St. Helens, and they will not survive over the Scarlets. Sorry to my Ospreys friends, but I think you know this as well. You're not going to survive. There's all kinds of rumours going on about the Ospreys at the moment. I mean, if you believe social media, someone met a bloke in a bar and told him that don't be buying Ospreys tickets, season tickets for next year. I mean, they haven't even got season tickets on sale now, mind the Ospreys. They are the only region right now who don't have season tickets. If I was an Ospreys fan, I'd be genuinely fearful. And I know Lance Bradley is doing his best. He's pushing the narrative about St. Helens. It feels to me like damage limitation.
He's not an owner, is he, either?
No, he's not. He's not an owner. No.
They're going
to go. They're going to go. And if it's in the East, we are not going to survive over Cardiff.
We're the only team we know that is safe really are Cardiff.
100%. They're the capital team.
And everyone knows. And Cardiff fans that, act progressive and claim they don't know that they're safe. We know Cardiff are safe.
Oh, it's all nonsense. It's disingenuous. Yeah. Listen, Abby Tierney came out, and what does she say? She said, we could not allow the demise of professional rugby in the capital.
Exactly.
She came out and said
it was unthinkable. It was unthinkable.
Yeah, it was unthinkable. Yeah. She said it was unthinkable to allow the demise of professional rugby in Cardiff. Cardiff are going nowhere. They're fine. Yeah. But here's the other thing. People talk about East Wales team. If they play at the Arms Park, they've got to be called Cardiff because that's what's in the rules of the Cardiff Athletic Club. Any team that plays at the Arms Park, I'm sure Cardiff fans will back me up on this as well, I think, they have to be called Cardiff.
No, that's in the covenant they have with the Athletic Club.
So we know it's not going to be East Wales. If they play at the Arms Park, it's going to be Cardiff, unless the WRU sort of had words with the Cardiff Athletic Club.
But they wouldn't. It will be Cardiff.
But yeah, we all know it's going to be Cardiff. Yeah. And it's not going to be a proper merger. It's going to be a swallow. Cardiff's just going to swallow up Dragons. So
the thing on 2 teams as well, I mean, look, there's so much like losing our club and all that. That's outrageous. But it's all geared towards, apparently, it's better for Team Wales. But you're not building a great depth of player with 2 teams. You still need, if these teams are going to be competitive, quality non-Welsh qualified imports. You have to. All the best teams in Europe have quality foreigners brought in. So we'd still need that. But if you have, as an example, a foreign 15, a non-Welsh qualified 15 playing, then you're only having one fullback who's Welsh playing week in, week out. How's that developing depth for your national team? You look at Scotland, yes, good clubs like Glasgow won the league, really good team, do well. Scotland, yeah, they got some great players. What have they achieved? Absolutely nothing. 3rd in the Six Nations. Like, that is that what we're aiming for?
But this is what I don't understand. Why do we assume or believe that going down to 2 teams would help the national team? How many Grand Slams and Six Nations Championship has Scotland won with 2 teams?
Yeah, none.
How many Grand Slams and Six Nations Championship have Italy won with 2 teams?
None.
So why do we assume and believe, when I say we, I mean some people in the media, I never suppose, that going down to 2 teams is going to work for Welsh Rugby and the national team? There is no evidence. Exactly. There's nothing to suggest that going down to 2 is going to improve the fortunes of the national team. And why do you believe it will?
Yeah, you won't produce not enough players are going to get a chance. And I hate the notion that, oh, we don't have enough quality players in Wales. We have plenty of quality players, but if you look at all the other teams in the URC, in the English Premier, and in the French leagues, they've all got high quality imports, and we don't have that. That is what our regions are missing. A few top draw players and bringing our better players home, because we do have some quality Welsh players not playing in Wales, which doesn't help us. I believe we produce players. I think if you cut to 2 teams, there are so many quality players that are not going to get the chance to shine. You got Winner and Beetham playing at Cardiff. Only one of those fullbacks is playing. Well, if you merge, where's Anderson playing? Where are these players going to get the pro rugby that they're good enough for to get? It's just, it doesn't make sense to me. And that's probably the least of my worries about going to 2, to be honest, because I think actually losing clubs is ridiculous.
Yeah, so many talented youngsters are going to miss out, aren't they, if it's just 2?
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem. I get you will cut some dead wood. I do agree with what people say, that, you know, yes, the regions are carrying players that probably aren't good enough.
Yeah.
I get that. But then where do all these talented youngsters, where do they get their opportunities? Well, they're probably going to end up going over the bridge, aren't they? So we're going to lose even more young Welsh talent.
That's where you need the budget to get rid of the deadwood and bring in quality, you know, internationals from abroad. That's what you need to swap them with.
Yeah. So say, for example, I'm playing devil's advocate here, just to be very clear, okay? Say, for example, we go down to 2 and the Dragons are cut. Right? Well, would you prefer these alternatives? Because I was listening to Scrum 5 Pod last week, and the guy on there, not Gareth Riso, and there's another guy, I think his name is Matt Lloyd. He said this a couple of times. He always advocates us being a development team. And his argument was, well, you know, I would just say to him, we're not going to give you as much funding as the rest. And you can carry on producing players. You know, we've got a lot of talent in Gwent, you know, historic rugby area. Don't worry about results because, you know, they don't win anyway, so it's fine. And I was like, jog on, mate. Just jog on with our idea, because you've come up with our idea and you haven't given any thought whatsoever to whether the supporters want it or not. I mean, we've heard this idea of development team. I mean, we heard it years ago, didn't we? I remember 2015, 2016, we was having the likes of Gwyn Jones and Jiffy say we should be downgraded to a development team. Would you, Gareth, as a Dragons season ticket holder, renew your season ticket and accept if Dragons were downgraded as a development region with less funding, relying on kids?
I'll make it very clear it would be a no. I've accepted that we've had lower funding before and we're in the position we're in, but I've got hope. And if we are condemned to a development team, that hope is taken away. It's not what I've signed up to support. The one thing on development region that really annoys me, if a development team, like that person had mentioned, is just a team with poor funding, what's that developing? Because you're not creating an environment where the kids are going to thrive. To me, a development team, not that I think we should have one, should probably have the highest spend on coaches of any of the region, because they are literally coaching your supply chain. They should have great facilities and they should be able to build a squad. And those kids need to be winning games, which we're not doing at the moment. None of the regions are winning enough. But those kids need to be winning games to develop as well. They need plenty of budget to them.
But according to the guy at BBC, results don't matter.
Absolutely,
you could be a development region because the Dragons out winning anyway, so results wouldn't matter. That's what Matt Lloyd said on the Scrum 5 Pod.
That's nonsense.
Results always matter.
Kids, bloody professional sport.
That's what he said.
It shouldn't be. If it's a cheap option, it's not going to serve the purpose of developing. It needs to also have all the investment for the top class. They should have better coaches than anyone else. So it won't happen because you might as well just have a proper club. And no, I wouldn't be interested in supporting development team. It's not what I've signed up for. I've got hope that one day we're going to go to the moon. Whether we ever make it, I don't know. But if we're condemned to that, then my hope's taken away, and I'm just not interested in that.
So we put out a poll on Facebook asking supporters if the Dragons were to become a development region with less funding, as suggested on Scrum 5 Pod and elsewhere. To be fair, a lot of people have been saying this on social media. Oh, we should have a development region, make Dragons a development region. Again, no thought, no care to whether we want it. That's just what we're told. Would you still renew your season ticket? How many people, well, percentage-wise, how many do you think voted yes, they would renew the season ticket?
Less than 10%.
Gareth, how many do you think?
Yeah, I'd say less than 20%.
16% of supporters said they would renew their Dragon season ticket if we were to be downgraded as a development region. 83% of supporters said no, and I'm one of them. You're not going to get me renewing a season ticket if we're a development team, because firstly, as you said, Gav, you're quite right, it does take away the hope of ever being competitive and ever pushing for honours. You might say, well, the Dragons are off that now, but at the moment, we've got hope, haven't we? We've made a good
Yeah.
recruitment drive. David Buttress came on the pod and said, one of our targets is to make the playoffs. That's what we want to do. If you're a development team, you haven't got a chance of doing that. It's going to affect your recruitment. Who is going to want to sign for a development team? You're not going to sign any major names. So, yeah, let's be honest, who's going to want to do that? And it makes it hard for you to keep your best players, because what happens if a development team will bring some really good boys through, they'll do well, and what will happen? They'll just leave. They'll get cherry picked by Cardiff, Scarts, they'll go
Yep.
over the bridge. So we're just developing players for other teams.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing if you're a development team. You've got no chance to keep them, because once they do well, they'll be gone. How do you sell a development region to supporters? How do you sell that to sponsors? I think that's very undesirable. I think as a product, that's something I'm not interested in. But then like someone could say, and it is a fair point, well, isn't that better than losing the Dragons? If the alternative is not having them, wouldn't it be better for us to be a developed region? And I say, actually, no, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I agree. I don't want to be a development team. Also, it annoys. Why is it always us?
It's always us. Yeah.
And and obviously there's the current situation, but prior to that, we know we were the least funded region for numerous years.
We always had the lowest playing budget, excluding salary caps. We were the lowest playing budget out of any region.
If in that time you were a successful region, you were given more funding, why, given that you were given more funding and you were successful, if you haven't managed to have any sort of foundation, no assets, nothing, and you've not really managed to grow a fan base through all that success and extra funding, why should it be your turn to have another go at it? If you didn't capitalize it properly on the first time, shouldn't we be given the chance to have more funding and be given a go and see what we can do and how we can develop our assets, and can we grow our fan base? Because everyone will follow success. And look, I'm making that I do not want to see any region go. They're exploring the option of 3 or 2. To me, they haven't said 4 is completely ruled out, but I'm probably clutching at straws here if I'm thinking it is going to happen.
It's unlikely.
Yeah, it's very unlikely, but
yeah,
my preference would be I don't want to lose any team. I want teams to hate. I can't imagine not having Cardiff. I mean, Cardiff will stay, but
they'll be fine.
Yeah, Cardiff will be fine. You want those rivalries, and we can't lose the Ospreys. It's the only team we can beat. So it's
Rodney Parade anyway.
Yeah, Rodney Parade.
We do all right against the Scarlets.
But why can't we have a go? Why is it always? Oh well, I'll tell you what. You did nothing really when you had all the success and money before. Have another go to see if you can actually run it properly this time. Well, why can't we have a go? And we've got clean balance book as well.
The development model.
If you're starting from zero, we're a much better model to invest in, considering we've got the assets and we can grow and grow commercially, and we've finished in the black. Do you want to invest more into paying off debt elsewhere?
The development team model doesn't exist anywhere else now. They had it in Ireland, and Ireland stopped it. But
with Connacht mind, this is a bit of a misunderstanding, red herring, because Connacht were a development team for some time. But what happened was Pat Lam was there, and they had a significant uplift in funding, and that allowed them to sign guys like Bundyaki. Remember they were signing Mills, Miliano, and all these guys. So they did, whilst they had less than the other 3, they did have a significant uplift in funding, Connacht. So when they say, it worked for us, we're development. You were signing guys like Mills Miliana for 300k a year, so you did have money.
Exactly.
They weren't a development side at that point, were they? That's slightly not.
But we were always compared to Connacht, weren't we? In the past, it was always Dragons are similar to Connacht.
Are we going to sign a Kiwi international fullback? I'd be all right with that.
Yeah. So if we can sign, we'll sign Barrett. Then call us what you want. We'll be a development region if you want.
David Havili.
Oh, Gav, give it up. It ain't happening, mate. Going back to what you were saying earlier, right? I've always been an advocate for 4, and I still am. I don't want to see any team go. Honestly, from bottom of my heart, I don't want to see any team go. I think 4 is the right number. Having said that, I'm resigned to the fact now that we are going to lose a team. It's going to happen.
least.
I think whether we like it or not, it's going to happen.
Mhm.
And if it's 3 teams, I think we could survive because I think we have enough potential off the field. We're in a very good place off the field. We are the only team to own our own stadium. We carry far less debt than the others. There's a lot of potential at the club with redevelopment of Rodney Parade, etc. If it goes down to 2 teams, we're not going to survive that.
No.
We're not. It's going to be Cardiff and it's going to be Scarlets. And it's
Yeah.
not going to be branded as East and West. It's going to be Cardiff and Scarlets. So when they talk about a merger with Cardiff, is that something that you could support, Gareth, do you think? Could you swallow your pride and go, well, it is pro sport and no, it's only down the road in Cardiff. Could you accept a merge with Cardiff?
No, you couldn't drag my corpse there. It's like it just that would never happen. And it's not a merge, is it? It's just them absorbing us.
Yes, that's what it would
It's-
be. And it would be called Cardiff, as we mentioned earlier, with the Cardiff Athletic.
It's, oh, we might put some amber on the away kit. Just don't bother, mate. Like, I got nothing to do with you. I'd rather spend my money getting the train to Gloucester or Bristol. Go watch them.
Gavin, a merger with Cardiff, do you think that's... I mean, your boy
Well-
supports Cardiff, so you could be a lot closer to him if you took up Cardiff
Yeah,
membership.
and I still
merger.
talk to him remarkably. Because no, it wouldn't be a merger. I think of this from my own club's point of view, where a bigger club wanted a merger with us, and essentially that involved us giving them all their players and becoming members of their club, because the bigger club will always take the hindmost, won't they?
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be a merger. For me, it would be a merger if we came up with some stupid name and the games were played equally between Rodney Parade and Cardiff, and the colours represented both sides. That would be a merger. Anything else, absolutely not.
For me, it's simple. I'll make myself clear. If there's no pro team playing out at Newport, I'm out. If we become downgraded to a development team with less funding, I'm out. Any merger with Cardiff, again, I'm out.
What do you do? Go watch the SRC?
Well, look, I enjoyed watching Newport RFC over Newport Stadium on the occasions I've been there. It's only down the road for me, walking distance, 15 minutes. I would probably take up a membership with Newport RFC. Obviously, I would have to think about Newport County because I'm not sure where they would be playing. And I would go over the bridge and catching games at Gloucester. I had a conversation with my dad today about this. He said before he became a Dragon season ticket holder, him and his partner used to go over to Gloucester quite regular. They make a weekend of it. And he enjoyed it. He really enjoyed going over to Gloucester. I think that's why he would do.
Gloucester,
Yeah, proper club. Like I said, shared. Gav, you've been to Gloucester a few times.
Yeah, I literally went this season with my dad, my old man, and my uncle. It was great, to be fair. And yeah, it's close, dangerously close. But there's nothing like supporting your own.
Absolutely.
So please, owners, we know you've got the fight in you. Please don't let us go.
Yeah.
I just can't imagine life without the Dragons.
The thing is, you won't have the same. I hate this word; makes me think of Lee Jarvis. But you won't have the same affinity, will you? Because
no, he said
no, well, but it's true.
It's true.
Because,
it is true.
We're all blokes from Gwent. You're both Newport boys. I'm a Valley's boy, but we're from Gwent. That's where we're from. Well, it's like when I go watch Harlequins. I like going to watch Harlequins, but I don't feel any affinity, mainly because I don't drive a Bentley and I don't eat caviar at half time. No. But there's no that affinity there because I'm not from South London and you guys aren't from Gloucester.
That's it. It's not your own, is it? Everyone watched the Lions this weekend, but it's not quite the same without Jack playing, is it? You want to support your own, and going to Gloucester was great, but it's just a day out. Yeah. It's just a day out. It's not going and caring. No. And you can't beat supporting your local club.
But I'm probably not as emotional about it as you, Garth, I would say. But for me, it would be I would be very disappointed to see the Dragons go. But if they did, it would be Newport IFC for me, regular. And to get my pro rugby fix, I go across to Gloucester. I think that's what I would do. But here's the thing that's really troubling me, right? And I've been thinking about this a lot. So can we just remember what happened when we signed that PRA and how we somehow ended up in this position where we could be cut? Because let's not forget the Dragons signed a 5-year PRA deal with 3 years fixed funding. That's what we was told, right?
Mhm.
When Dragons signed that deal, they believed that that gave them security and stability.
For 5 years.
Yeah, and they were locked into a deal for 5 years. And I was looking back at an exchange David Buttress had with a couple of supporters on X. This was a while back. Someone said to him, what's this about the regions being cut to 3? Do you have anything to say to reassure us Dragons fans? Now, we could ignore that if he wanted, but to be fair to David, he does engage.
He never does he? You know,
No,
he never ignores anything.
he engaged. And he replied, Dragons owners are signed and committed with the WRU for the next years. Didn't say how many, he just said next years. And then someone else replied, another fan said, are they committed with the Dragons in return? David Buttress replies, it is a two-way legally binding agreement. So yes, I wouldn't sign a one-way commitment, right? A legally binding agreement we have signed. Cast your mind back to what David Wright told us in May. Remember when he had that interview with the Argus in May? Now, this is a direct quote. This is what he said, okay? We, meaning the owners, signed together with legal assurances that we believe are sound. We produced, articulated, and agreed a legal side letter that we believe, with our lawyers, gives us enough legality should we want to fight. Right? That allowed us to sign. And the other clubs that haven't signed, Ospreys, Scarlets, were open to everything that we did. We showed them and we asked them whether they would join us, and they refused. The three of us, the owners, have run billion-pound businesses and dealt with legal people for many years. We all believe that document we have signed gives us enough leverage, and there were sound business reasons to sign it. So my question is, if we've signed, and I'm not a legal expert, right? If there's anyone listening to this who is a lawyer or, an expert in law, get in touch, right? If you have signed a legally binding agreement, surely that has to count for something. So why is it us in danger of being cut then? Why are we in this conversation when we were the ones who have signed a legally binding contract with a legal side letter that was produced on advice with lawyers and the WRU accepted? So why are we in this mix to be cut when we've signed with legal assurances?
Well, are we getting put in the mix just by some people on in the news that have got their own agendas and would rather see us go over some other clubs? But yeah, do you know what? The fact that the owners bothered to take out a side letter, have that verified by their lawyers, put that together and have that signed, shows that they preempted the world ahead, but also showed that if things did go wrong, they wanted something that they could fight with. Yeah. So that should stand us in good stead now that they will fight. And Buttress obviously did put on Twitter the other day saying there's plenty of fight left in them. Enjoy the summer.
Quoting Churchill as well, wasn't he, at one point?
Yeah.
Bit cringe, David,
sure.
but I get the point, Dave. But
not sure about that.
No, a bit cringe, I thought. But no, I get it. But this is why I don't understand. The Dragons have believed that they have locked into a deal that's legally binding two ways.
Yeah.
Right? That's what Buttress has said. That's what David Wright has told us. I think our owners have been smart, right? I think it was the right decision to sign because I think we got a much stronger legal case than the West clubs, for example, right? I think you're right. I think they knew this was going to happen. That's why they got their lawyers involved with a side letter and everything else. So again, the question, how can it be then that we are under threat when we have signed a legal agreement? Maybe, like I said, someone who's listening to this who's a lawyer into law might determine and say, well, actually, it's not legally binding if this happens or that happens. I don't know. But as far as I'm concerned, the Dragons signed a deal that they believe they were locked into for security. And now we're being told that we're in danger of being cut when we were the ones that signed the deal. There's got to be a legal case there, surely.
Yeah, it would be a smart document, wouldn't it? They wouldn't just sign something that would have caveats in it. So maybe we are safe.
Or is this something that we're not taking into account? I don't know, but I don't understand how a contract, when you sign a deal that's legally binding, how can that be null and void, for example? How can we be in this mix? Surely the teams that didn't sign the PRA, they are the ones in real danger because they did not sign, whereas we signed it on advice with the lawyers, and we've sought legal advice, as David said. It's very interesting, though. I didn't realise it at the time. When you read back his comments, the times the word legal is mentioned. I think they preempted this. I think they knew that something like this was going to happen, and they were like, right, okay, if you do try and get rid of us, we've got this on advice for our lawyers. We've signed this deal. It's going to be but what would happen though if the Dragons did try to cut the Dragons? Now they've signed this agreement.
I don't know.
Yeah, what would the repercussions be? And like they said, they've run multi-million-pound organizations. They're very, very astute businessmen. I would trust that we are in very good hands. We know the only people who can be assured their future is Cardiff, but we are in very good hands. We've got owners that fight for us, and it sounds like they've been boxing very clever and could preempt what was going to happen, and probably being a bit smarter about things than a couple of the other regions, and a bit smarter than the WIU, to be honest, who quite frankly running a bit of a clusterfuck of an organisation.
But yet we're always in the conversation to be cut. And I get it. It's because of the results. That's literally all
just
it
an
is.
easy
It's the
target,
result
isn't
and
it?
a reputation. But my question is, why are we in the mix when we've signed a legally binding document that's locked us in? And we've been told that we're locked in and it secures our future. So does it not secure our future now anymore? What's changed exactly? How is that possible?
I would imagine there's break clauses in it that would cost the WRU significant amounts of money.
Which they don't have.
Yeah.
But do you think that we've got a very good, I know none of us are lawyers, legal eagles, but surely we would have a strong legal case, wouldn't we, with the side letter, the agreement, the assurances we've had.
And I'm pretty sure we know Buttress wasn't the most trusting of the WRU. So I'd imagine this wasn't some flimsy letter. Like, there is obviously some thought that's gone into that. And yeah, legal stuff way over my head, but it sounds like we got a strong case. But despite that, I'm still absolutely shitting myself. It's really worrying.
Well, I was going to ask you that. Does the fact is, on the one hand, I'm still glad that we signed the PRA. I had my doubts at first, but when it was explained to me by a couple of people at the club, and then when David came on the pod, I felt a lot better about it. But now, if we're cutting to 2, if that is the case, I don't see how we survive above Cardiff. So I am generally worried about it now, even though we have signed it. I shouldn't be, because we've signed the PRA. I should be more confident than the teams in the West. And yet I'm finding myself thinking there really is a danger, even though we were the ones that signed the bloody deal.
But what you've just said, though, hasn't been mentioned once by all those writers on Wales Online who are lobbying for what they want. And you're like, well, they're not showing the full picture, are they? So, of course, we're worried, because they're pushing an agenda that does see us go, which would suit other regions that they maybe support.
Yeah. But
so we're not getting the balanced view, are we?
On paper, I think we've got a stronger deal, a stronger position than others from a legal point of view, because we signed the what do you call it? The PRA.
Yeah.
Well, because they've literally given notice on the Scarlets and the Ospreys, haven't they?
Yeah, but you listen to I reference another podcast, but I know I did earlier, Scrum 5, but the Wales Online Rugby podcast.
Yes.
You listen to that as well, because we had this conversation on the group chat. They're saying they want to bring in the changes as early as, not next season, the season after. It'll be the 26-27 season.
Yeah.
How they think they're going to get it done that quickly, I don't know. The only way they could get it done that quickly is if the teams agree to merge. There has to be agreement of all 4 parties, doesn't it? That's the only way. But they think they can get this done quickly. And it's like, well, hang on, we have signed a deal for 5 years.
Yeah. Also, has anything been done quickly with the WRU?
Oh, no. I mean, this nonsense about, they'll have a decision in October. Yeah, righto.
Exactly. And the amount of rumours is ridiculous. Like, of course we're uncertain and worried, even though we've got these assurances, we're going to be worried because there's so many daft rumours getting pushed online.
Oh, the amount of stuff, I know a certain person said to you some stuff at Rodney's yesterday. Sorry, load of bollocks. I know you're listening. Nope, don't believe that. The stuff I saw on, like I said, Twitter last night, there's rumours on Grad and Scarlet Fever and all these forums. And this is what annoys me now. I just want to know from the WRU. I'm sick of reading rumours and hearing rumours.
Yeah.
Just tell us what's happening. As soon as the WRU come clean and tell us what's happening, and I don't want any delay. If it is October, then come out with it. But we're heading into the new season, man. The season starts in September. We still got this doubt lingering over us.
And we know from players talking to coaches and all before and how rugby is that recruitment and retention pretty much starts when you start the season.
Yeah.
Those conversations. We announced Ben Carter at the end of September last season, I think, re-signing. Well, how are you having those conversations if you don't know you're going to exist? Like, again, thanks WRU, you're putting another season on the back foot.
Yeah.
It's not the one Wales and all these strategies. It doesn't feel like that to me at the minute.
No, not at all. And do you know, I was feeling really positive about this season. I am positive about the recruitment we made. I've said it before. I think given the reputation that we got and the results we've had, I think we've signed some very good players. I think when you look at our squad now, because I know one of our listeners, Greg Carter, he did a squad depth chart, didn't he?
Yes. Yeah, good.
When you look at our overall squad, it looks a lot more balanced now. It looks stronger. Okay, fly half and centre still looks a bit light, But when you look at our squad, I think it could be a lot more competitive next season. It should be a hell of a lot better. It has to be a hell of a lot better.
100%.
I was feeling positive, but now you come into the season, it's just that lingering doubt in your head, isn't it? Are we going to be cut?
It's hard to feel positive when you don't know if we'll exist anymore, isn't it?
No.
I tell you what, though, with that, and we've said about the players before, do they use certain things as motivation? I think the play, I know uncertainty is not good, but let's go out there, prove people wrong. Let's change the narrative. And fans, this could be your last chance. Get over there, get your season tickets, spend your money in Rodney Parade. It could be gone, and you'll regret it. So
lose it.
Let's be vocal. Let's get over there. Let's support our team, and put our money into the club where and when we can. If it goes, you're not going to have another chance because it'll never ever come back.
That's the thing. Once you cut, it's gone. It ain't coming back. That's why it's such a major decision. To cut a team is a huge repercussions. Once it's gone, it's gone. It ain't coming back. Remember what Rhys Blumberg, friend of the pod, said last year? He said, I genuinely believe the Dragons are in the best position of all 4 regions. It would just be an absurd decision to cut the region which has the most stability. We've got our house in order, and it's the best I've seen in Wales. And yet here we are, still facing threats, being closed down, facing calls of being a development team.
Outrageous. I tell you what I'd love to see a stat on as well, is how many current players in the Wales setup are from the what would have been the Celtic Warriors region. I wonder if that region of Wales is still producing top-class rugby players or not, or did we literally kill it off?
But that region of Wales, it wasn't really a region of Wales, was it? Because Bridgend and Pontypridd aren't near each other. And
good old WRU.
it was like the valleys. Well, the valleys is a big thing because I'm from Ebervale, and I wouldn't consider myself to be from the same part of the world as somebody from Gleneath, which is also the valleys.
Yeah.
Absolutely. How many boys from Bridgend and from the kind of Rhondda and Taff area in the Welsh squad? A number, I would say. There's almost certainly more players from Bridgend in the Welsh squad now than there have been from North Wales in the last 4 years.
Oh, let's not get on to North Wales. Sorry, Jamie as well. Went off what you said then, but I mean, the more you're saying about what our owners have said, the legal letter, what Blumberg stated, it is making me feel a bit more confident. But
but we're always in a conversation still.
Until it's signed and sealed, I'm still going to be worried.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm resigned to losing the team. Unfortunately, I think it is going to happen. Yeah, I don't know. I think for the first time, I'm genuinely concerned. I am genuinely concerned the Dragons could fold. I felt like this, not as much as, but in 2017 when we were put up for sale. Remember that? And then we couldn't find a buyer. We were hemorrhaging money. The WRU took over. I mean, it wasn't the same situation as Cardiff because people forget Dragons never actually went into administration like Cardiff did. We would have done had they not taken over, but I thought then that could be the end because there was no buyers coming forward, was there? And we were hemorrhaging money. But now for the first time, I feel like we're in trouble if we go down to 2. The only way I see it being 4 is if it's a 2+2 funding model, like what we're going to have next season. But they're not going to accept that, are they? You are not going to get Ospreys and Scarlet saying, yeah, we'll accept this going forward long term.
No.
They're not. No
No.
one's going to accept being a development team. No one's going to accept having lesser funding. No one's going to accept being cut. Honestly, I think Welsh Rugby is in for some really tough times ahead. I could see again very messy, very ugly lawsuits, and then we'll be back to square one, infighting, politics, self-interest. Oh, it's just grim, isn't it? It's really grim. But I am gutted at the prospect of not just losing Dragons, but losing a team. I really am.
Yeah.
It's a shame. It's a shame we've ended up in this situation. And why is that? We've ended up in this situation because of the mismanagement and carelessness of the WRU for 15 years.
Yeah, and we pay the price for,
when people
for
say,
their mistakes.
Yeah, when they say regional rugby hasn't worked, it did work because we had Grand Slam, Six Nations, World Cup semi-finals. We had all that with 4 teams. So when they say it didn't work, it did work. But what happened was the WRU, they didn't fix the roof when the sun was shining. They papered over the cracks. They didn't invest in our game. And now we are where we are.
The National Academy.
Yeah. It's because of them we're in this mess. No good blaming other teams. I've seen people saying, oh, well, the WRU should have closed down Dragons back in 2017. You know, that would have solved this mess. Oh, well, it's Cardiff's fault because, you know, they were careless with money and they went into administration. It wasn't their fault what happened. They had dodgy owners. They were sold a dream and, quite frankly, they got a pup.
Yeah.
And then the WRU had to
you
rest.
buy
It's not
into
their fault.
those dreams, don't you? You know, if someone says, look, you know, I'm going to make you magic, then you're going to listen to them.
It's not their fault what happened to them.
No.
But we are in this situation because of their situation, because the other two didn't sign. Where you could say, well, it's the West teams clubs because they didn't sign. Had they signed the PRA, if they followed what we did, you know, we showed them a letter, we showed them everything. That was enough for them. And I'm not criticizing them for it. I'm just saying they didn't sign it. So had they did sign it, then maybe we could have had 4 teams for another 5 years. But they haven't. So you can point the fingers all where you want. But my point was, you can point fingers anywhere you want to, but it comes back to the mismanagement of the WRU. That's where it comes back to. No good blaming teams. It's the WRU. It's
a poorly run organisation, has been for a while.
And probably will be, regardless how many teams we have. Even if we have 2 teams, do you trust the WRU to implement all these changes and do it correctly and do it in the right way? Welsh Rugby will still be a shit show. I guarantee you, even with 2 teams, 3 teams, whatever, Welsh Rugby will still be a shit show. And what happens in 10, 15 years, by the way, if we go down to 2 teams and Wales are still shit? What you're going to cut more? You're going to cut again? You're going to cut to 1 team? What happens then?
And there's this argument, and it's partially true, but not fully true. This the idea that, well, you know, because the amateur clubs have so much say, they have blah blah blah. Not actually the major issue, really. You know, kind of the people who've been running the RF or the WRU for the last 5 years are all professional people from business. There's no mystery thing, is there? You know, it's.
No. I'm afraid Abby Tierney and Richard Collicky would have been a huge disappointment.
Oh yeah.
And I was optimistic of their appointments. But there's rumours of her putting in a resignation. Now that's the latest rumour doing the rounds. Again, it's just a rumour. No idea if it's true or not. Or what happens if that happened? You know, where do we go then? You know? Oh, it's just, I'm sick of the rumours. I'm sick of the rumours and the whisperings. Just make a decision and we go from there. But let's see what happens. I guess in the meantime, we have to keep the faith, don't we? But
well, that's all we can do, really. Isn't it?
It is. Before we wrap up, just very quickly, because we'll talk about this when we do a special preview pod. Our European fixtures have been confirmed a week after. It's a strange system, isn't it? You know, they do the draw, but you don't know who you're playing, where you're playing.
It's a bit ridiculous.
It's absolute nonsense. So anyway, it's all been confirmed. So round 1, Sunday, December the 7th, away to Perpignan. That's at 2 p.m. Round 2, Sunday, December the 14th, we are home against Lyon. That is going to be tough. They are a very tough team, Lyon. Very physical team. Just ask the Ospreys when they came down to Swansea. Very, very tough team. Massive pack. We're away to Benetton in round 3, Saturday, January the 10th. Feels like a winnable game, but it is very tough. And then on round 4, Friday, we have got Newcastle at home. How do we feel about those fixtures? Like I said, we will go into it in more depth on the preview part. I think those are a very tough set of fixtures for the Dragons.
Yeah.
That's just it, is it? Yeah. Okay,
No,
fair enough.
but, two good French sides, Benetton, who are difficult to beat, and Newcastle, who've now got lots more money, so perhaps will be better.
But that hasn't been confirmed yet, is it, the Red Bull? It hasn't actually
No.
been, it's just been in the news. They haven't
Yeah.
confirmed it. I mean, they have lost so many players. They've lost so many of their star players.
I don't think they're going to be great next season,
No.
regardless of investment.
No, neither do I.
It'll take a
But
bit
they
of
would
time,
have
won't
had
it?
time to replace everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tell you what, with those fixtures, I'm disappointed we didn't get Racing away. Would love to go to La Defense Arena because that looks like a cool place. But I just like whether we can get out. Look, we all want a cup run, whether we can get out of the group or not. But let's just have something on that Newcastle game. Friday night, Rodney Parade in the horrible depths of a Welsh winter is going to be grim. Let's have something on that game, and that could be a really good night. And that's what I want. I want to go over Rodney Parade, and games mean something.
Yeah.
Because our season is essentially always over by Christmas. So
yes, it is true. It's true.
like I want to go over and there'd be something riding on it, and I want to be in the league jockeying for position, and like let's be fighting for something. So because that could be a great game to go to. Otherwise, it's going to be a second team's being shoved out, and it's just going to be cold and wet, and suddenly it's another outlook
no
on
one
it.
wants
So
that, do they? No one wants to watch the second teams of two relatively poor sides going at it.
So let's have something on it. English opposition. That could be absolutely banging. I mean, feel for any Newcastle fan trying to get down for Friday night game's a bit tough, but yeah, tough fixtures. But the league we're in and the European competition every fixture's tough. There's no gimmies.
There's no easy fixtures.
Apart from us, people see us as the gimme.
Well, that's the challenge for the club to overcome, isn't it?
And actually, we've become poor, and I think it's the results speak for themselves. But because we're poor, people target us for a bonus point win because you can't not beat us.
Of course you do.
Because your rivals in the league are beating us.
Yeah,
we need to take more scouts. We have to change the narrative. And I know we'll do pos before, but yeah, I just want to see us gain some respect and change the perception of the club.
Yeah, it's what Toby Booth said when he first took over the Ospreys. He said one of the first things I want to do is for us to earn respect, and he did that. And let's try and get some respect. What I would say about just before we wrap up these Challenge Cup fixtures, Philo, please put out a good team for every round. What we don't want youth teams, because there was a lot of anger about the Montpellier selection. We got away with it up in Newcastle, but you was at that Q&A as well, Gareth, and there was a few people pretty annoyed, wasn't there, about the selection, and even Blumberg said, we'll have to get the coaches in to explain that. But let's give it a proper crack, play a proper team, not kids. That's what I want to see. Let's treat this competition with respect, and then we may get something out of it. That's what I would say to that.
Yeah, totally agree.
We'll wrap it up. God, it's been a long one, isn't it? I've been on my soapbox tonight. I needed the vent, though. I needed the vent after 3 days I've had. I think we'll leave it there. Thank you very much, gentlemen. It's been great, isn't it? It's been nice to get back and put the world to rights, put Dragons Rugby and Welsh Rugby to rights.
Therapy.
It is. It's very good therapy, and I've needed it lately. I can't be honest. Thank you both for joining me. Thank you to our friends at Riverside Sports Bar for their continued support of the podcast. Thank you to our listeners who continue to support us and leave really nice reviews. We appreciate it. But until the next time, whenever that would be, could be a week, could be 3, who knows now. See what happens in Welsh Rugby, I guess. Until next time, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one. Ta-ra.